They got Willa. They got my daughter. I need to find her.
From acclaimed director Paul Thomas Anderson.
You can save that girl.
Today, experience what is being called the best movie of the year.
This is the end of the line. Not for you.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Tiana Taylor, Chase Infinity.
Let's go!
One battle after another. Now playing only in theaters. Experience it in IMAX. Rated R. Under 17 animated without parent.
You can't hide.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to the Super Rugby Cymru podcast.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the SRC podcast. Joining me, Big M, as always, Double R Rob Rees and John Bucky Harris. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we?
Evening, gents.
Good, thanks. How are we doing?
All good.
All good, happy day. So let's just dive straight into it. The first round of SRC Cup action. And just for the sake of it, we'll start with Pool A. So, first game up, I've got Llandovery at home to Cardiff. So, wow.
A big one.
Yeah, it was. It was a major one.
Big one to start.
I'm quite surprised they haven't tried doubling it up with the league for this, because I think that's the only game left that hasn't had a rearranged fixture. So the game finished 40 points to 33 in Llandovery's favour. So, nice 5-point win. But that is really not the tail of this game. Cardiff leading 21-12 at halftime. Cardiff got to their 33. I think Ebbw might have been on 19. I think it might have been 33-19. So Cardiff threw away a good couple of leads in this game. So, Rob, I'll come straight to you on this one. What's going on?
No, I think you can't imagine a game that scores over 70 points and probably doesn't get game of the week. That's just that. We'll cover that in a bit. But yes, it's two sides who were wanting to play rugby and wanted to go out and sort of force the hand a little bit, I guess. Obviously, Cardiff have been missing quite a few players, and I think the scoreline is probably quite a good one for them. They'll be disappointed they couldn't take it all, as I said last week. I think this is really the sort of the game that decides who wins Pool A. As much as it's early doors, you can see it's sort of one of those nip and tuck sort of rivalries with Cardiff and Llandovery. You never quite know what's gonna happen with it. But yet again, we've got another hat trick this week and another one for Llandovery this season. But you just get that sort of feeling that at the moment, Llandovery are doing two things. First of all, they're winning, but they're winning ugly matches, and they're winning these sort of games. So, yeah, I think Llandovery will be relatively pleased. They'll be disappointed they've conceded 33 points up at their place. But yeah, this is their tough game. No disrespect to anybody else in that pool. I don't see any other sides over the 4 games posing much more of a threat. I guess the only disappointing thing for Llandovery and a good thing for Cardiff is Cardiff take the 2, and that keeps you in the pool effectively. I mean, it doesn't really matter what Llandovery do. They're only 3 points ahead despite the win.
Yeah. So, talking about the the missing players for Cardiff. So there was 8 new faces in that 23 for Cardiff. But on the flip side, there were 5 new faces in the Llandovery team. So, both making a very, rotated, changed up, point of view to naming this 23. And, whether that's because of 20's calls up or, the seniors or whatever. So I managed to get a nice little comment off of Llandovery head coach Eros Evans, and all he has to say is we plan to use the cup competition as an opportunity to rotate the squad, prove them there, and give some of our younger academy players a chance to shine. Striking the right balance is crucial, not only for development of the players, but also for achieving the results we need to sustain the momentum we've built, in the recent matches. I think was it a 10-game winning streak now. So, Saturday's victory against Cardiff perfectly demonstrated this approach. We gave opportunities to players who had earned their chance while also handing young academy prospect Tom Phillips, loose head, not to be confused with the blind side at Carmarthen Quins, former under-20s captain Tom Phillips. So his first start at this level at any men's game. So, well done to him. Additionally, Tian Sparrow made his debut off the bench. Both performed well and will undoubtedly benefit from the valuable game time they'll gain in the coming weeks. Now, I watched, obviously, I'm the Scarlets representative, so Llandovery Carmarthen Quins, and I watch as much of the regional age grade as I can. Tom Phillips is an excellent loose head. He's a good prospect. But Tian Sparrow is another level. He's had a lot of time off with illness, but he's an open side flanker and he wears a blue scrum cap. No comparisons need to be made with it. But honest to God, the way this kid plays the game, and quite literally, his home club is Ammanford, so they're playing down in Championship West. He started playing, I don't know, something like he's had about 5-6 games for them. Before that 5-6 games, they were just languishing around mid-table. They're title contenders now. They're up there. They're fighting. They're in that top 3. They're fighting for promotion and a title now. And same can be said of Sam Potter, another one who went into this Llandovery side. I believe he's currently training, with the Dragons. I'm not sure if he's got a full-on contract, but there's a lot of young players getting opportunities, and it's great to see, from a regional and a national perspective. These boys need the game time, and I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I just wish we had more than just these highlights. So, John, if I can get you to stick a Cardiff hat on, I don't know if it's possible, but how do you think they're feeling? They've gone to Llandovery, they've gone to Churchbank, they've come away with 2 points, but they really should have had the win in this one.
Oh, definitely. I think if you probably offered that to them before the game, they might have thought, we could come away from Llandovery with 2 points, and that'd be a pretty good result, and could still make a challenge for getting to win this group. But because of the way they've lost it in the end, like I say, after being up at half time, and not many teams go behind like that to Cardiff at half time and come back. But I think we all know Llandovery have got the quality to do it. And what I loved from seeing the highlights, Llandovery tries all seem to be from, they scored all different kinds of tries. They had a penalty try from a dominant scrum. They're doing kick passes to score tries. They're just running from open field. They score in every kind of try you can imagine. It's a perfect start for them, and they just seem to be the form side in this whole league and cup now. Like I said, 10 games in a row they're winning now. Looking at the last 5 games for everybody, the most anyone's won the last 5 is 3. I think even include Aberravon in that. Got to throw them in somewhere. But yeah, I'm just so impressed with Llandovery now. I think they've gone up a gear compared to how they started the season. They've found they've grooved now, and I think it's going to be difficult for anybody to beat them the rest of this season now. Cardiff, I think, can still mount a challenge in this group, because I think it's going to be difficult for the other 3 teams in this group to beat Cardiff or Llandovery. So Cardiff know if they can go and blow these other three off the park, Bridgend, RGC, Aberafan, which they can do, then they can still go through. So I think that's what they'll try and do. So beware. I think the other three, they'll beware of Cardiff when they do come to town, because they know they're going to need 6 points from those 6 points each from those three games. So it's going to be fun to watch. Maybe not so much when we've got to go to Cardiff, but they're going to be, that's going to be exciting. And Llandovery, I'm still picking them to win this cup, and the way they're going, you could see another double for them this season. They look absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, undoubtedly on that front. It's a scary prospect now, seeing a team that's not playing that great and they still grind out victories against some of the top, in the competition. So Llandovery got the job done. Nice 5-pointer. Cardiff, a wounded animal, as John says. Now, other game in Pool A, and I know John is itching to get this one, so I'm gonna hold him off for just a little bit. And we just said just now a 73-point game. That's not the game of the week. We've got a 96-point game. So RGC 54, Aberafan 42. And I know John is seething because 25-12 up at half time, and sure there's a few more leads in there as the game went on. So,
this went back and forth.
So Rob, take it from the RGC point of view. How are they feeling? They've got the win, they've got their bonus point, but this a home ground. They looked a bit vulnerable at times.
Yeah, I think if anything they'll be a bit buoyant after that one. It's one of those ones you can smile, laugh, and enjoy when you walk out the other end as the winners. I've touched upon it a few times this season. That's RGC more so at home drag teams into their way that they want to play, and this was sort of not entirely 80 minutes of that, but this is exactly what that's sort of what they've sort of done to Aberafan, and that's Aberafan were in control of the game at half time. A sizable gap, 2-score gap, and then all of a sudden that gets reeled in within minutes of the second half. But RGC don't kick on from there. They don't kick on and put another 2 tries and put the gap the other side. All of a sudden it becomes nip and tuck. But I think that's the sort of way that Josh Leach has got them playing up there. That's they're just going to be playing. They don't want to be messing around with phase playing and sort of slow build up. And then ultimately, if something doesn't go wrong, if something doesn't go right, or if the opposition are building up over phase after phase and then go over, no, if they're going to score, they're going to score, and they're going to just cut through us and score a good try. But then we're just going to go straight back at them. And I think that's quite refreshing to see. I mean, it's a pattern of RGC's season. I mean, the last home game up there against Ebervale, again, over 80 points, over 60 points the week before against Bridgend. Was it best part of 100 points? I think it was earlier in the season when Pontypool went to town. So it's not the first time, and it's not a rare, achievement that they've sort of done this mental scoring game. And I think that's the one thing that you can back them doing is they score tries. I think we pointed out Aberafan last season and coming into the start of this season as maybe a bit of an issue in midfield around the sort of the defensive qualities. It's sort of become a bit stronger recently as Joe Gage sort of came back into the setup. But yeah, this is a bit of an anomaly really, given their recent form.
Yeah. So I think this game, more than any other, was a battle of kickers, shall we say? So Billy McBride hitting 8 conversions, Ed Dunford 4 conversions and 3 penalties. So despite having the one less kick, he is leading the scoreboard by that 1 point. So I think Billy might be gritting his teeth a bit there. So over to our Aberafan fan. Christ, how are you feeling about this? Because I know how I would be feeling if this was me.
That was needed first. Well, if you're a neutral, this was fantastic, wasn't it? I mean, you had 96 points. If you score 42 points away from home and don't come away with a win is a bit puzzling. Yeah. Again, as you mentioned, 25-12, I think, half-time, Aberafan are winning. Similar to Bridgend, they were up with a healthy 2-score lead at half-time. And then, as Rob said, within minutes of the second half starting, they've scored 2 or 3 tries, and it's all turned round. But at least then Aberravon they've come back into it again, gone back in front, 42-33, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know how long this game went, because that was about 10 past 4. I was getting that notification of the score, and I thought, oh, it must be going into injury time now. And then next thing I know, RGC have scored another 3 or 4 bloody tries in the last 10 minutes. Just looking at, I still think there's a little bit of a problem with game management with Aberravon, because from what I noticed from the highlights, it's 3 of those RGC tries. 2 came from interceptions, and I think 1 came from a drop ball, and then the RGC have pounced and been clinical and put those chances away. But there's 3 chances they've been gifted. So I worry, are we still not playing smart rugby when we're in winning positions and managing the game properly? Because we're scoring points, we're scoring tries, we're scoring great tries, forwards, backs. I was landed. I called Joe Gage playing fullback, because that makes me look as if I almost know what I'm talking about for a second. He scored a lovely try. Ashton Evans again scoring tries. Ed Dunford kicking great, out of hand as well, his distribution. But yeah, this RGC just they just kept going, didn't they? To score that many, I think it was 6 converted tries in the second half they've come out and scored. That's impressive to do that in one half. To come back from behind, go behind again, and still, they could almost think they've almost got a 6-pointer out of that one. Yeah. So I don't know where we go from here. I thought I've jinxed them by saying we got the second best defence in the league after Cardiff, and then they go and ship 54 points on the 3 days later. So I'm not going to mention that again. Well, but I think yes, it's a great game for the. Sorry, Rob.
I think you're jinxed, John, because the 2 sides you said are the best defence have shipped nearly 100 points between them in the first round of the cup. Keep me going, John. Keep me going.
Well, you're welcome, everyone. So. Well, RGC supporters are getting their money's worth this year anyway. They have some great games to watch up there. So, yeah, well, we got Aberravon of Bridgend again for the 3rd time this season on Saturday. They've got to put this right now. They should know exactly what they've got to do to beat Bridgend after losing to them twice by a couple of points each. And fair play to RGC. I didn't expect that. I thought it'd be close. I didn't see RGC scoring 7-8 tries. So fair play to them. And they're playing some fantastic rugby as well. They're really nice to watch.
So that is all the action from Pool A. So the leaderboard as it stands, RGC are top through scoring more tries than Llandovery, both on 5 points. Followed by Cardiff with 2, Aberravon with 1, and Bridgend not yet to play. So that brings us into Pool B, and Ebbw Vale at home to Carmarthen Quins. And for me, I want to take a lot of positives from this, as Carmarthen Quins. So 7-all at half time. I think it was like 63, 64 minutes. It's still 7-all. But the game finished 24-7. So Ebbw Vale did get a 6-pointer. That's probably what they would have hoped for. Ebbw Vale going in for this game. But Carmarthen Quins, I think they can be happy with the performance that they put in. They had a good few changes themselves. I'm trying to look by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if I'm not mistaken, and that includes Ellis Payne on the bench, who has been playing his rugby with Newcastle Emlyn, another academy product, who is being rewarded for his performances with a club in the league below. That's brilliant in terms of development.
Yeah. That's what we want to see.
It is. We want to see more.
Not only these boys going up to regions, but we want to see Championship or Division 1 boys coming up to these clubs as well, don't we? It's great.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what the SRC is all about, and it's what the SRC Cup is purpose built for. You don't have a lot of your academy players because of the under-20s, the gap weeks of the regions. They want to get their boys healthy, ready for the Fallow week games. So it is an opportunity for, some of the first or second year senior academy boys, really digging into senior rugby for the first time. I know even boys from, these clubs that own pathways, I love seeing it when they go, like Bridgend do it perfectly because they've got like this whole pathway system built up. I absolutely love it. And, you can just see how they've bought in, this is our club. We want our club to succeed at the highest level, and this is what we're going to do to build it. We're not just go, oh, the region has the pathway. We'll just let them get on with it. No, we're going to build for ourselves. Years gone by, you've seen teams have, full age grade, have a youth team, but it's completely separate from the senior side. If you want to get into the senior side, don't bother going to the youth. Go play somewhere else for a season or two. And once you're good enough, they'll have you. No, these clubs, they were using their own youth system, their own, like it's not an academy as such, but it really could turn into, which would be brilliant. Who wouldn't love having 10 extra academies in Wales for rugby? But yeah, I'm reserved, but it's not as bad as it could have been. So Rob, Ebbw Vale, just the 4 tries at home, really needing a final burst to get over the line. So how are you all feeling over there?
It's probably a bit of relief and a bit of, I guess, quite proud of seeing where the club has gone, and this result is probably a good sign of where Jason's taken them to. I mean, for the first 20 minutes, half an hour, the roles were effectively reversed. It was Carmarthen applying all the pressure in the scrums and sort of looking the more dominantly physical side, but it was Ebbw Vale who was cutting the sort of cutting them to shreds behind and was playing some really nice midfield ball. I mean, Cam Davis is probably one of the players of the season from this year, and again was leading from the front. While he's having his chance. But yeah, it was just 7-7. The game was finally sort of balanced, but it wasn't a good affair at all, I'll be honest. It was an absolute turgid game. Like I said, right there past the hour mark. I feel that looking at the way it was going, it was so stop-start. Carmarthen's Waterboy team must be full-time professionals, the amount of time they spent on the field. And you could see that this was a game of slowing it down. I mean, Reece Fawcett in the front row were sort of bringing it in slow, the line-outs are slow, and you can't even say that, they were under the cosh because they were doing it well. It was very much a game of, let's try and keep Ebbw Vale close, let's disrupt a bit of momentum, and it worked. Ironically, Ebbw Vale didn't make that many changes to the sort of the starting 15, but it was the bench that did make the difference. The 2 props changed. They didn't end up changing the hook there because they had Reece Francis back at the club on permit for the day. And yeah, it all sort of changed from there. Jacob Hopkins grabbed a nice couple of tries, and you could just see Ebbw Vale held on to the ball in that last 20 minutes. I think it probably tells a tale that the game finished at gone 20 past 4. Yeah, there was other teams kicking off their second half whilst this game was still in the first half, sort of thing. But yeah, I think it's one of a bit more relief. I mean, 6 points is all you can take from a game. It's one of your 2 home games, and it's one of the 2 that you need to get the bonus points against. So, yeah, I think Jason Strange is going to be pleased. They got obviously the week off now as they're the bye team in round 2, rest up a few aching bodies, and they can sort of strategically go again from there because obviously it's the big Pontypool game.
It is a real big game. So, other game in Pool B, Swansea travelling to Pontypool. Now, I'm a bit heartbroken by you, but I am so...
Yeah, this would have been the result of the season, wouldn't it?
It would have. It really, really would have. But I'm so happy to see Swansea back, to see them competitive. Not just, in games for 60 minutes, in games for 80 plus. Because that's really what happened to this one. So Swansea leading 24-13 at half time. Pontypool needing a very, very last minute try and conversion to just sneak it 32-31. If I'm Hugh Gustafsson, I would have been breaking walls. I would have been just one moment would have changed it all. And you know,
one
they can
knock
still
on one anything in it, and it's
anything.
anything to have blown that whistle there.
Yeah, obviously they will take a lot of pride, and they'll be very happy taking the 2 points. Going through, because when you've got Pontypool, Newport, and Ebbw Vale in the same group, teams are going to be dropping points. This isn't like in Pool A where Llandovery and Cardiff, but more or less it's a 2-horse race. You're looking at this going, teams are going to drop points against each other. If you win your home games, you get a couple bonus points away. You could well be in this. So, from a Swansea point of view, gutted, proud, sorted. So, John, what do you make of this one?
Surprise. When I saw the score, I was very surprised. I didn't expect to see that at all. And like I said, I think if you'd offered Swansea 2 points up there before the game, they probably would have bit your hand off.
It's a recurring theme now. I've heard that before.
But the fact that it's taken injury time for Pontypool to go and win this in the end, I think they'll be happy. They'll be, like you said, they'll be buoyed. This will give them so much confidence now. But it is one that's got away. I've read it on the Pontypool supporters group. Few of their supporters were saying we didn't deserve to win that today. We've got away with one beer. But great for the Swansea, great for the competition as well, because we've seen how hard and difficult it is for anybody to go up to Pontypool and get something. So to come away with 2 points and what should have been 5, really, you can say that last few minutes, one knock on, one accidental offside, one anything, and Swansea coming away from Pontypool Park with 5 points, which none of us predicted. So, and they scored some beautiful tries again. There was some beautiful little passes just out the back with some crisscross running behind. Lovely. They always score good tries, those Swansea. They've been doing that all season. And I think what I've noticed, they from what I've heard, they fronted up really well against that Pontypool pack, which we have said is a bit of a weakness for them this season. So to go up there and front up is no mean feat. So, but Pontypool, they're coming away with 5 points. Fair play to them. No, they've kept playing, and kept going. And then the big man, the quality, Morgan Allen, the beast, he comes through and the conversion to win it. So again, another great game. If you're a neutral, this was probably fantastic. If you're either set of fans, you're probably pulling your hair up by the end. But I hope now this gives Swansea a lot of confidence going forward. Like, we've got up to Pontypool, but them should have got a win and a 5-point win at that. Not many people do that at Pooler Park. So hopefully they can really kick on for the rest of the season now and pick up a couple more wins. Because, well, we've already played them twice now, so we don't have to worry about what their form is.
Love it. So yeah. We've spoken at length of some of the turmoil that Pontypool faced during the season. Tom Hancock has been at the helm for quite a while now. So, Rob, what's going on a bit? I've got Pontypool, firmly pegged as the best of the rest outside the top 4, but it doesn't seem to be showing that at the minute.
Yeah, I think Swansea definitely fronted up, and that may have came as a bit of a surprise. Pontypool did very similar to what Ebbw Vale did, a reasonably settled squad, especially in the starting 15, and I think that's their sort of bread and butter at the moment, is their home fixtures. We've said a few times on the pod that away form has been shaky, so they knew that they had to come out and do something in this. Obviously, they've got Carmarthen Quins and Newport on the road in the Cup. 2 difficult fixtures, to be honest, there. But
Newport at home, I think, but
just think
they were away today against Pontypool.
Yeah. But yeah, you're looking at the way that they're sort of playing, and you go in, they are playing a good brand of rugby. They're probably not as front sort of ball and sort of forward orientated as we would expect them at the start of the season. Has that let Swansea in slightly? Possibly on sort of this case, but I think they've used this sort of cup competition as a bit of a fresh page. You know, they're not out of it by any means in the league. I think top four is now a stretch, but obviously the playoffs and the knockout stages make the league anyone's till the sort of the final. But what the cup is sort of their fresh opportunity to go. They've won the Championship Cup when sort of they was waiting to come into the Premiership as it was. So they're going to be itching at getting a bit of sort of silverware in there. And I think this is probably their best opportunity. Whilst they were stuck in the Championship for years, they made the big games, the knockouts, basically. You know, every cup game, didn't matter who it was against, they made those sort of one-off games. And as much as we are in a pool stage here, this is still very much a knockout stage because of the way that the fixtures work. You know, you're only playing someone home or away, so straight away you lose the advantage of we'll play them home and away. So if we can win all the home games and then steal some away fixtures, you're going to go through like the old Champions League format in football. But yeah, I think Pontypool will be very, very relieved how they've done this one. I think it's to win it as late as they did. Fair play to Kieran Meek. Balls of steel. Doesn't matter where you are on that pitch, taking a kick, whether it be a conversion or a penalty, when you know that basically that's the last kick. This is going to win you the game or lose you the game. You know, it literally had everything riding on it. And I think in a pool with Newport and Ebbw in it, you couldn't afford. You literally couldn't afford to slip up. Outside of those fixtures. So fair play to Kieran Meek, who's had his kicking boots on this season. I think it's similar to Ebbw. They'll be relieved in a different sense to Ebbw, but at the same time, you've got the points you needed. Now it's time to move on and focus on bigger fixtures. No discredit to Swansea.
100%. I understand exactly where you're coming from. So the Pool B table looks like this. We've got Ebbw in first with 6 points. Pontypool behind in 5. Swansea with 2. Somehow Newport, without playing the game, are on 0 points, but they're in 4th. But Carmarthen Quins obviously losing without any sort of bonus points and a negative points difference. Sticks them a bit lower down. So that's sort of...
Swansea have got 2 home games as well, man. They got to play the 2 big boys in that league home. I'm just thinking, could they still win this group?
We'll come on to it. We will come on to it because this game does kind of need nicely into it. So, league action, 1 game, rearrange game. There's a lot of rearrange games over these next few weeks, so we will be covering them as and when we can. So, Newport traveling to Bridgend. Now, honestly, Newport haven't been at their best, let's say, in recent times, but for it to take, for it to be a 3-point game away to anyone again outside of that top 4, I think Tyrone and his lot will be annoyed. 14-7 lead at half time. 14-all then for quite a while before a Jack Lloyd penalty seals their 17-14. So yeah, like I've already spoken about Bridgend and their pathway. So I know it's a win, but it's in the league now, so this is a 4-point win. This is not the 5 or the 6 point. And I've said before, if you're not winning with at least 5 points, you're losing ground. And in some cases, you might still be losing ground with those 5. So, John, you're the Australian. Bridgend kind of falls into that. So, I don't know how Bridgend are feeling. One that got away.
Oh, it's got to be on it because they've been on pretty good run of form as well. With a few back-to-back wins. I think it was 3 wins in a row, actually. 3 of which I picked them to lose. So as soon as I build my faith back up in Bridgend, they've turned their corner now. Now they're going to start picking up some wins. And I've jinxed them again. Sorry, Bridgend.
Is the curse of John Harris, isn't it? Best
No, it's not
defenses,
going well.
Bridgend in good form.
Yeah.
Landevery favourites.
Been waiting for them to kick on all season, and then they just kept losing. And then when I decide, oh, go on, and yes, they've turned that on. Now they're going to kick on, and then they go and lose the next one. So it is one of the top 4 sides in the league. They have lost to, though. But if you're Bridgend, you've got to try and win these home games. They are sitting in 5th at the moment. Pontypool have got a couple of games in hand. Aberafon have got 3, just to throw that in. Always got to do it. So it probably is one that's got away, because you want to be in that top 6, don't you, for these playoffs. You don't want to have to be going through a playoff to get in at the end. Yeah. I haven't seen any highlights yet as well as a problem, because I don't think, have there been any put up? I didn't see any. But I don't know. If you're Newport, you can't be dropping points, but Bridgend have been playing well recently. So I think to come away from the Brewery Field with a win is still a plus for Newport. They are losing a little bit of ground on the teams above them, but they're 10 points clear of everybody else with games in hand. So I think that top 4 is pretty much set now. So as long as they're into that, then the one-off games in the playoffs, and anybody can beat anybody, especially Newport. I did see there was a worrying injury to Lewis Lloyd, was it? The winger, I read. There was a worrying injury. So I hope he's okay, because he's been on fire this year. So I hope he's not injured too bad. So, yeah, I hope... hope Bridgend can get back to a bit of winning form. Not by Saturday, hopefully.
We'll talk about that in a minute, but
yeah.
one thing we can't say for Bridgend is this fixture, they did give them a losing bonus point, so they now clear at 5th, but 10 points behind the top 4. Whatever way you look at it, it's a difficult club, a group in, and let's call it to break in. But so if I'm Bridgend, looking at where the season's going and how things are, I'm okay. I'm okay where we are. It could be a little bit better. It could be a lot worse. So that's what we need to.
They've definitely improved from last season.
Yeah, 100% on that. So, Rob, over to you for the Newport take.
Yeah, I think this is the game that Newport had to win this, because it's one of those, you're playing on your own. You need to sort of close the gap to the top 3 and put a bit of distance behind you before all the other buys start coming through and everyone starts sort of piggybacking on top of each other with all the sort of the rearranged fixtures. They'll be extremely relieved that it's one of those ones they couldn't quite shake Bridgend off. And ultimately, you get away with one. We've seen Bridgend at the Brewery Field at a good team. Yet again, they haven't been able to pull something off against one of the big 4 sides. The closest they've got.
Slow start again.
Yeah, and I think that's a bit of Newport from the last couple of seasons shining through it. Just there is that sort of, the game is sort of a bit scrappy. They can't fully take it by the scruff of the neck, but they get into it and they hold out, and good teams find a way to win. It's one of those ones, if Bridgend were the team that was in form and sort of top 4, you could guarantee that it'd be the defensive penalty would be someone holding on and the referee's arm goes up the other way. Obviously in this case it's Newport applying all the pressure, the arm goes up and Jack nails the penalty to win it late on. It's a bit of a theme this week across the Cup and the League that these wins are late. All that is starting to tell us is there's a lot of sides struggling once we start going past 80 minutes. Because I know there's quite a few teams this week especially, they push in 10, 12 minutes of additional time past your sort of usual 80 minutes. And I think Newport are one of them sort of teams, they just keep going. They've got the gas in the tank, they've got the experience, and that's probably what's hurting Bridgend here as well, is the lack of game management. They haven't got that winning mentality that Newport have. They haven't got that. Doesn't matter, boys. We're going to get that penalty at the end. Newport have that drive. They have that winners mentality. You know, they're a good side. You know, there's a reason we picked them in. I think every one of us picked them in the top 2 at the start of the season. And I don't think anybody would argue far wrong of them being top 2 this season. I think top 4 is massive for them because it gets you that home tie. Similarly to Bridgend wanting to make sure they're not in that sort of bottom group in for the sort of the playoff before the playoff. So yeah, I think Ty will be pleased with the result. But as you say, I think at this stage, 4 points against anybody seems to be a bit more of a bit more of a leverage needed because of the additional bonus point. Because you say Cardiff, Llandovery, Ebervale has been picking up a lot of 6-pointers in a row.
So that wraps up all the results from this past week. So if you're still with us and you like what we're doing, you don't like what we're doing, you're just here. So, like, share, subscribe, share with a friend.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, John. You said it very, very, very well there. It is very appreciated. I'm not going to lie. So that brings us on to this week's action. No league games to account for. So straight in with Pool A action, and it's Aberravan v Bridgend, take 3. So I'm not going to make you wait this time, John. How about it?
We've got to win. We've got to win this game. Like I say, it's the 3rd time we're playing them this season now. They've won 2 close games. They've been great games to watch. But 2 games I would have expected Aberravan to come away with victories from. Just going on past results, generally got good record against Bridgend. So hopefully they've got 2 games to look at now, and they say you learn more from a loss than you do from a win. So hopefully they've looked at everything from those first 2 games and know exactly what they've got to do now to put Bridgend away. It's at Talbot Athletic Ground, so I think that is gonna. I know I say this all the time when it comes to Aberravan, but I think that is gonna swing it for us. I think there's a good team there. We need to make some better decisions, I think, in closing games out and seeing them out. After half time, we need to be more switched on, because that's 2 games now where we've conceded 2 or 3 tries within 10-15 minutes of the second half starting. You can't do that. You're just putting yourself straight under pressure then, and then you're forcing the game, and then you might start throwing an interception or knocking things on because you've got to get back in front. But Bridgend are going to come down confident, though. Of course, they've done the double over us already in the league. But I do think there's no way we can't we can't lose 3 times to the same team in one season. So I'm picking Aberravan for this one again, based on nothing but blind faith. And and there's a good team in there. There is a good team in there, and it's going to click. And this could be what kicks us on for the rest of the season, then hopefully, because they will still be eyeing that top 6 in the league as well. As we've said, this group is going to be so difficult for anyone other than Llandovery or Cardiff to win this group. So I think the league will be the focus on that top 6. And with the games in hand they've got, if they can win them, they're going to be up in that 5th place straight away. So hopefully this is what they need now to really kick on. And it's going to be close again, because it has been all season. I think it's been a 1-pointer and a 3-pointer. So it's going to be a single score again, probably. But I'm going Aberravan to get 5 points out of this one. But not 6, but 5. And Bridgend will probably come away with 2 bonus points as well.
Yeah. Never in doubt, is it, John? Never in doubt. Aberravan win every game of the season, and you ahead. So
absolutely.
That the last game was a month. It's literally less than a month. I think it's like 28 days, 4 weeks. Since the last fixture between the two. The 30-27. The late. There was a Luke Price, I believe, who nailed that penalty.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I'm looking at your results. Like even beyond that, the loss to Swansea as well, and I'm looking at Bridgend, that this keeping close to teams. To run Newport that close, regardless if it's home or away, is it takes some doing. So probably for that reason more than anything else,
Don't do it.
I
Don't do it.
I gotta make sure there's three of us, so I'm hoping for a lot of 2-1s here, so I'm gonna go Bridgend for this one. So Rob, you can give us a bit more detail if you'd like, my friend.
Well, the good news is, gents, we're getting a 2-1 because
No way.
The draw. No, I think this is going to be a battle of game management. Who does it better? Purely based on the way that we're seeing them defend at the moment. I'm leaning Bridgend. My only doubt in the back of my mind is, do Aberafon now throw the shackles off, knowing that basically is do or die in the cup because they've already lost the game, whereas Bridgend are basically starting their campaign now and they can run it through. So there's probably two different types of mentality, but yeah, I'm going Bridgend.
Going Bridgend. Okay, I'm happy with that. I got my 2-1. So will I get it in this game now? So Cardiff at home to RGC, and they've only played one so far. Up, Park Areas, up north of RGC, and it was 32-25 if I'm right in Cardiff's favour. But looking at both squads, knowing the amount of talent that Cardiff have lost, yes, RGC have lost 2 boys, but those boys haven't featured a great deal. So this is still a very settled 23 for RGC. We're not going to see a great many changes. So yeah, I've got to back RGC for this one. Rob,
interesting.
Rob, I'm coming straight back to you, my friend.
Yeah, I think it's one of those fixtures where it doesn't really matter where it's played because of the surfaces that both sides play on. Cardiff are a bit of an unknown entity with so many changes all the time. I mean, if you'd have said he'd scored 33 points against Llandovery, people would have gone, probably not. I am really torn on this one because I feel RGC are best sat and best prepped. But I just think at the moment, Cardiff are one of those sides. Cardiff are going to pull this out. Also looking at mind again, if they lose, that's their cup done. Not mathematically, but in all seriousness, even with your current pool leaders or joint leaders having a week off, you lose this, you've already lost ground to a side who's already got the 5 points. Plus, you've lost to the pool favourites. So yeah, I'm swinging Cardiff's way.
He's swinging Cardiff's way. So are we going to get another 2-1? John, it's down to you.
We are going to get a 2-1.
Yes.
I'm thinking Cardiff as well for this one. I know. I really want to say RGC after the way they run it in tries, but I can't. The smart money tells me I can't bet against Cardiff at home.
It's the pitch. You got to remember the pitch. They're used to it. They love it.
I know, but so Cardiff are used to their pitch. So, and I think this is going to be This is going to be a good game, I think, as well. This could be the game of the weekend on that fast track with these two sides. But I just feel Cardiff at home. Just my brain tells me that's what's going to swing it in this one. They're just going to have that little bit too much. But I wouldn't be surprised if RGC come away with like 2 losing bonus points from this, with the way they're running in tries at the moment. But a Cardiff win, I'm thinking.
Yeah. So my only fear, and this is going to be, the same for the remaining 2 matches, is that the regions send some boys down for game time, then having the week off, 3 weeks to a game is massive for anyone. 2 weeks looks a lot friendlier. You can manage a lot better. So my only concern is if a few regional boys start rearing their heads, for Cardiff in this fixture. When the team sheet comes out, I might be going, oh no, what have I done? But until then, I'm back in RGC. So down into Pool B, Carmarthen Quins at home to Pontypool. Rob, obviously last minute kick to beat Swansea at home. Should Pontypool be expecting to just pick right back up and go, yeah, we're gonna go Carmarthen, we're gonna do the job?
No, I think is the answer. They've not had great success there in recent times, and Quins are that sort of team. I mean, we saw it for an hour against Ebervale, matched them up front, drove their own game plan, and that's away from home. They mixed it in with some difficult conditions, and look like they're going to be a settled side again. They haven't really lost too many players. Yori Badham is a big loss. Obviously, Caron Tupalot, who's now on loan over at Saracens, so he won't be dropping down, and Titcombe's going to be standing up a lot more with the Scarlets due to injuries. So 3 key players are missing. But it's a settled core. They are a big pack, and they've had a decent outing as well behind them. So I think they'll be wary. And again, I think Quins will be looking at holding out in that last 20 minutes. Pontypool have made a statement of winning a game in that, the last kick, but in that last quarter really kicking on, and Quins done the opposite and really dropped away in the last 20 minutes post bench. So I think if Quins can manage that sort of hour mark when the sub starts interchanging, then I think Quins. I'm going to go Carmarthen win you. I think this is the first of a spanner in the works in these pools. I think it would have been different if Pontypool had have lost this week. But yeah, I think Quins is a difficult place to go at the moment.
Well, from the sounds of John's little we should be getting another 2-1. So, John, I think I already know where your mind is at. So before I become I want to become the tiebreaker for a change. So go on, my friend. What are you thinking?
No, it was only because he's thinking the same as me. You walked into that one a bit.
I did. But no, really did.
I'm fancying Quins for this one. I am. I just think 2 quite similar sides, I think, in many ways. And I don't think Quins suit how Pontypool want to play their game. I don't think they match up well for Pontypool, if that makes sense. And yeah, I think, but as Rob said, though, but Pontypool have shown that they will go until the death to win a game. So that is what Quins have got to deal with. But something's telling me that Quins are going to pull this one out. They've got that big pack. They've got that strong scrum. Good to see Reece Fawcett getting some game time because he's a prop I rate very highly. I think he's got a big future if he can kick on. He's a mountain of a man, and I think he's got a high ceiling. So I just hope he can hit it. But yeah, I think I'm going to go for Quins on this one. I just got a feeling.
Yeah, I wanted to be a tiebreaker. I'm not, but I am going to be the first man of a clean sweep. I am obviously going for Carmarthen Quins as well, if you couldn't already figure it out. I mean, no,
you can't just pick your home team every week, mind them.
Blind faith.
I know. Makes me sick.
Terrible, boys. But no, I agree with you. With everything you said. They have got a surprisingly strong pack. I'm not trying to disrespect the players, but when you see in the likes of Ebu Vale, Llandovery, Newport, and Carmarthen are standing up to it, it takes you by surprise at least a little bit. Yeah, like I've always liked Reece Fawcett. I think, and he probably could still do a job at regional level. He's 28 now, so he's coming into those prime years as a prop. It's it's not uncommon for, you know, a loose head or a tight head to still be playing rugby around 34, 35. So, you know, that's still 6-7 years left in him, which, you know, it can only be great for the club and for anyone, you know, who's wise enough to really have a proper look and assess these players. But yeah, I'm Kamal, and we've got a clean sweep. We've got a first 3-0. I'm happy with it. And yeah, I would like to see, you know, possibly Charlie Titcomb getting some game time. You know, this week, you know, I really did it. Look, I love Charlie. His nickname is Tits, so I'm absolutely loving that. Interviewed him for the Scarlets pod. If you haven't seen that, check out the YouTube. He's an awesome guy. He is English, but he's an awesome guy. But yeah,
is he a big man? Because then he'd be big tits, wouldn't he?
What are you doing, John? Come on.
Hey, this ain't a sophisticated podcast.
But no, you know, just looking at, you know, the region, the Scarlets last game, you know, he didn't get on the pitch when realistically the style of player that he is probably could have done with him. He is that game manager. He is that guy who will ping the corners. He will put you back 50 meters if he feels he needs to. And that spiral bomb he has, oh my God. We probably won't see it if when he comes onto the professional stage, but you know, obviously the little bit less time in, but it's a beauty to see whenever, you know, Quins are on Esped Warek and he's playing. Oh my, I love a spiral bomb. Anyone who doesn't, there's something wrong with you. Okay, so that brings us to our final game of this round, and if you spoke to me 2 weeks ago, I would have said this is going to be a 6-pointer for Newport. But seeing these last couple fixtures, yeah, Swansea at St Helens, it's going to be a task. I'm gonna pick Swansea to get that victory, just because I think it would do amazing things for them. I think it would be brilliant for the league in general. So yeah, I'd be happy with that. John, straight back to you.
Yeah, same as you. I think even a week ago, if we'd had to pick this one, I think we'd probably all be going for Newport 6 points. But yeah, this is a much tougher one to pick now than it would have been. I'm really tempted to pick Swansea as well for this one. But Newport's such a good side. They really are. But they are having a bit of a dip by their high standards. No, all right, they've come away with an away win last week, but not convincing. And a couple of losses before that, so they're not in the form they were at the start of the season. And really hoping now that result but the losing by a point in the death for Swansea is going to give them so much confidence now to come back to their own ground and think, well, if we can go to Pontypool, we should have come away with a win, and we can do a job on these. You know, they have got a win under their belt now at St Helens, and the fixtures fall quite favourably for them in their group as well. Their away game is Carmarthen Quins, which, no disrespect to Quins, but if that's who you're going to want for your away game to be, you're going to want to play the big boys at home. Well, it was a big call to say I fancy Swansea to win the group, I think, but never know. It's rugby. Anything can happen. But you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go for Swansea for this one. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to say Swansea going to sneak this, and I'd love to see it. It'd be great for the competition, great, like I said, great for the league. But it is Newport, so. But yeah, if I've got to pick one, I'm going to back them. I'm going to go Swansea.
Okay, so that brings us to Rob to round things off, and I'm really hoping for another clean sweep here. This would be amazing.
I'm going to quote the famous John Harris by starting to say, but this is Newport.
Oh.
Unfortunately, it is still Swansea. And yeah, I don't think Swansea are at that quite level yet to be holding Newport off, even with the recent upturn of form and how they handled the performance against Pontypool. I think Newport with this one, especially because Newport are going to be wanting to get into this cup competition now. Like you said, they've had the week off now. Said Swansea's fixtures do fall nicely, as much as you can. Unfortunately for them, I think Newport winning this one.
I can understand that. Yeah, I can understand you going from completely.
Jeez, I'm glad you went with Swansea because you're cursing all our fixtures. Predictions are going my way all of
I
a
know,
sudden.
all the fans must be thinking, don't pick my team, don't pick my team.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that does bring it to an end for this week. And as we've just found out, Rob has no faith whatsoever. So, yeah, I think there's not much more left to say now, boys. 4 fixtures this coming weekend. There's a gap week then, the following Saturday, not this coming weekend, the weekend after. There is 1 league fixture. So I think we'll give next week a miss, and then we'll come back the following week, review all this weekend and following's action with a full preview of the next round of the Cup. So, gentlemen, as always, thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you all again in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
That was the Super Rugby Cymru podcast. Please rate, review and share us on socials if you can, and join us again next week for more of the same. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.